Someone actually commented on my YouTube video saying, "You need Christ. Jesus died for you." And I was there like, and then someone else commented on a thing saying, "Being gay is more important," or like an eating disorder video, and I was like, "Wait, what's going on?"
Well, this is taking a left turn.
Honestly, I love it. I get
you must get some great comments.
I do get some. Most of them are usually about how I'm a white man and I have no job mansplaining to women and giving them advice they didn't ask for. I said, this person.
They did actually ask for it, though.
Yeah, sometimes they actually do. It's crazy. And then I had someone comment recently goes, "You should delete your Chanel, not channel, my Chanel."
To be fair, your Chanel is pretty intense.
Someone also said I was misogynist, not misogynist.
You cannot beat a typo to really just kill an argument.
100%.
Every time they do it, I literally look at them and I'm just there like, you're done.
It's underneath them when someone does an asterisk and then just like corrects the typo, and you've just destroyed that entire, probably partially valid argument.
Someone's actually done that. They wrote me a fucking essay, and it was like a fairly well constructed essay, but they did the wrong there. So all I responded, literally. So all I did was asterisk there, the right there, and nothing, and it got like 100 and something likes, and they just didn't respond to you.
Oh, it's brutal.
Brutality.
Yeah, finish him.
But then sometimes they'll apply sorry, English isn't my first language. I'm so like, oh, my
wow,
bad,
okay, yeah.
I'm sorry. Did anyone ask? Because I didn't. That's crazy, man.
Anyway.
We can't record that. I'll get in trouble now.
No, that's fine.
I'm sweating.
It's all fair game. It's all fine. It's all general content. Anyway, you guys all right? Anyone well?
Someone sent me a penis on Snapchat a few years ago.
What? A few years ago?
From Instagram and YouTube. I'll never forget this. His name on Snapchat was... Because my Snapchat used to be open when I was young and could justify having Snapchat and not looking concerning. His name was Prince of Tonga. And so I'd have my Snapchat on my Instagram bio. And obviously you start picking up traction and stuff. And then I got a Snapchat video from Prince of Tonga. I was like, this is very interesting. Let's have a look at this. I've never spoken to a prince before.
Trying to send you, tell you about unclaimed millions.
Yeah, literally. There's a pigeon in your bank account.
Yeah. Oh, phone jack at the back.
Yeah, I loved it. And then it's him walking. I was like, okay, interesting. He's just walking, look at the floor, camera at the floor. And then suddenly it just literally...
Wow!
And then suddenly a penis appears and just ejaculates. And I was like, oh. That caught me off guard.
What, like he wasn't doing anything, it just did it on its own?
He must have been fanoodling off the camera and then literally panned it down.
He's done his prep work.
Yeah, and then it just spaffed. And I looked at it.
Good afternoon, sir.
So I sent him a message saying, I don't appreciate
Thanks.
that. And then he goes, "Do you want to see more?" I said, "Absolutely not." So he sent me another one. I screenshotted it and said, "You do it again. This is going everywhere." That's pretty much what happened.
There's a pigeon in your bank account.
He said, "Sorry, I said no
the same
sweat."
thing. It did go everywhere.
He did go everywhere. He said, "Sorry, I said no sweat," and then that was it.
No sweat.
Brilliant. That's really opened this episode with a tremendous tone.
I've got worse, but someone listening is probably... the guy involved is probably listening.
I saw... to move on swiftly, which is always a good idea with your general topic, a guy doing arounds a little bit on social media who eats raw meat.
Oh, hello, Liver King. Great to meet you. You've done a video on you before. Nice to make your acquaintance.
The Liver King. Is that his name?
Do you know his whole thing is he liver a day and all this stuff. So he eats all this raw meat, and ultimately he gets a lot of traction because he eats these wild meals, which I want to clarify, you never actually really see him eating. He'll like, I've got 14 burgers, and they're like made of they're made of intestine and all this stuff. And he'll occasionally take a bite out of a testicle. We all do that. Who hasn't done that? And then that was all you'll see. And it's all because it gets people talking, and then he's like uses it to sell his supplements, ancestry supplements.
So basically, he's just clickbait.
Yeah, he's clickbaiting to get, and it's working. Yeah. Like he's there, like
because I've seen videos of him like literally grabbing a salmon from the lake and just eating it straight away, or whatever it is, or go from a hunt or something. He'll just eat freshly hunted meat.
Can I ask, why is he Liver King? What's he a king?
Because he eats liver. That's all. His thing is I think because he lives that raw liver lifestyle, whatever. It's just his name.
Yeah, but he can't decide he's a king though.
He also claims that he doesn't shower or brush his teeth because the pheromones of natural scent are what attract success or something.
Is this man married?
He is married.
He's got a family, hasn't he?
He's got liver boys and liver queen.
He makes his family eat the raw stuff as well, right?
Can't you go to prison for forcing people to do things that they don't want to do?
They make a lot of money from it, so they probably don't mind. Is it it's a bit wild.
Is he on steroids? He definitely looks like he's on steroids.
That man is actually is injecting so many pharmaceuticals. If he were actually doing a simulated hunt, he would be so flaccid.
So do you think it's possible that he is lying about why he looks like that? Is because of the liver?
Oh yeah, no, of course, because ultimately you say, look, I live this raw lifestyle supplemented with my liver supplements.
Brilliant.
And that's why I look
Brilliant,
this absolutely juiced out the gills, and I'm natural because of my diet. Therefore, if you buy he's a pinnacle of, you buy my supplements,
snake oil salesman.
Basically, he's a knobhead.
Oh, cool.
I feel like he's like a Louis Theroux episode waiting to happen.
Oh my God, yes.
So tell me, why is it that you call yourself the Liver King?
He's like, hang on a minute, I just got to beat this salmon to death I just caught in the river.
Are you okay? Are you okay? That's how Louis Theroux talks, isn't it?
And he's like, no, I'm not. And the guy just breaks down. He's like, actually, I don't even eat liver.
So you actually catch and eat your food? Is that what you do?
I think, basically, and the sad reality is so many people actually believe he's a natural and he looks that way because of how he eats.
Sad,
but it's just like, I'm sorry, but shut up. You're not natural.
It just goes to show people honestly do believe, like, seeing is believing, like, oh, it must be true because I just saw it. He told me it's true.
I've seen enough footage of him eating raw meat, so he does to a degree, definitely.
If someone's going to give me 1 million followers and a shed load of money to take a bite out of a salmon, I'll do it. Like, and ultimately, this man's blood pressure is so high, he's gone purple. He looks like Thanos before he got the gauntlet.
But people are thinking, like, cause and effect, just because he does that he looks that way. He's like, he might actually do all the things he says, but to say he definitely doesn't do it.
This man claims he doesn't have a mattress and sleeps on wooden crates. Showed his bed.
He's a real man.
Literally, it's just wooden pallets with a sheet on top.
Cool. So he's probably just moved the mattress off for the picture.
Yeah, literally. And then he'll be like, oh, let's go check in on Liver Boy. This isn't scripted. And they'll walk in, the guy's
like yellow.
he does like doing push-ups. He's like 103, 104. He goes, wasn't even scripted. I was like, oh my God.
Anchorman all over
and
again.
then 2 days later he goes, and then he goes, look, everyone was saying that was scripted. I'm going to prove to you it wasn't. Watch this. And he walks in and he's doing the same thing. He goes, what are the chances? I'm like,
he needs to go on
Taylor, do some press-ups. I'm coming in. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to go in here now.
Honestly, claiming you don't shower as well gives me anxiety. Honestly, that is liver smegma.
There was someone, was it Ashton Kutcher said that he doesn't shower. He only does it like once a month.
There's been loads of celebrities over the years. Sting apparently doesn't use deodorant
I love to smell his piss.
Well, the people, like hosts of chat shows always do, and they go, oh, he smells all right. He smells fine.
Yeah, but if you say...
He's wearing clothes.
It's like with food. Goes, oh, how's the food taste? Yeah, it tastes all right. It means it tastes trash, but you don't want to be rude. So if I go, oh, you smell all right, you smell like arsehole.
Just a quick poll. How often do you guys shower? Are we talking once, twice a day, once every 2 days? What are we saying?
I definitely shower after I work out because I smell.
I try and shower every day at least once.
I mean, you've got to.
But I
just wanted to check.
Yeah, but I try not to wash my hair every day.
Hair washing, yeah.
I try and wash my hair every other day.
See, Mike's hair's very long, so I feel like he probably treats it. I reckon you're like every 4 day washer.
Yeah, I try. It depends how oily it gets, and then my diet affects that as well. So depending on what I eat, I have to really maintain my locks.
Yeah, same.
Now we've got the joke section out the way.
Good stuff.
So basically, I think the conclusion of that is Liver King is a marketing ploy and it's working.
We are going to be talking about our proteinous snacks, our snack hacks for... It's one of the subjects later in the show, isn't it?
Trend.
Yeah, okay, cool. You can bring that up if you want, but we're talking about our healthy proteinous diet snack hacks that we, our experienced eating minds have worked through. But we've got some good subjects today, actually. We're going to be talking about... Harry, what are we talking about?
DOMS.
Delayed
onset muscle soreness and whether it correlates to the effectiveness of a workout, which I get a lot in the comment section.
Oh, do you?
I actually got this the other day. Someone goes, well, if these standing ab workouts don't work, why do I feel DOMS the next day? So like, DOMS don't mean you're doing...
Save it.
Yeah, we'll save it.
Or he went on a slippery slope there.
He doesn't understand a good format.
Sausage. He just wants to help all the time.
And we're also going to be talking about deadlift skills.
We are indeed.
How to get the most out of your deadlift. So
Chris doesn't deadlift.
I used to deadlift a lot, but I'm getting old and frail, in my late 30s.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
also said late 30s instead of mid 30s this time. I'm just saying.
Well, you've peer pressured me into accepting my fate.
This podcast is aging him rapidly.
Anyway. Oh, by the way, did you see the fallout between your friend Taylor Swift and old Damon Albarn this week?
I don't know who that is, but I do love Tay-Tay.
What? You don't know who Damon Albarn is?
I probably would if you showed me a picture. I'm not very good with names.
You know who Damon Albarn is, right?
I'm not gonna lie, Chris. I think I do, but I'm not 100% confident enough to be like, yes, I do.
Bear in mind, we were born about 50 years apart.
Is he in a band too?
He used to be.
Is it a band?
Yes.
Did they make cheese? Does he make cheese?
Okay, that's Alex James.
I have no idea who this man is.
Was he in the band too?
Alex James, the bass player of Blur, yes.
Okay, well, this man needs a new barber. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, so anyway,
You're fine one to talk.
Damon Albarn, very
Goldilocks.
successful artist from the band Blur, recently came out accusing Taylor Swift of not writing her own music, and she went nuts.
I mean, in fairness, I feel like if something offends you to a great degree, it may apply to you.
Might be true. The shoe fits, right? The shoe fits.
And also, don't most successful artists have songwriters?
Ghostwriters,
so
whatever it is.
Like, I mean, what's the problem with that?
So really big pop performers and that, not only do they have they'll have a songwriter, they'll have a lyric writer, they'll have a melody writer, they'll have someone that comes and does the top line, which is like the above the melody. There's probably, if you look at any major pop record by a solo artist, the contributors to that song writing it is probably, I think there's about 16 different people in some pop songs.
Do you know what's crazy? Is that people have so many people behind them singing, but I do it on my own. I'm such a talented singer.
In a serious note, then I think of things like Kurt Cobain being all dosed up on heroin, but then he wrote some of the most iconic music, and I just think to myself, wow, he did that basically on his own.
Well, the Beatles, the same with, they were off their mind on drugs, writing crazy, amazing songs.
You don't say. The Yellow Submarine, I think that's...
Yeah, exactly. I Am the Walrus. It's a good song.
That is a great song.
Yeah, Harry's looking at us
Harry's
blankly.
like, who are the Beatles? Where can I find them?
First of all, I'm not allowed. Second of all, I just don't like the Beatles, to be honest.
That's all right.
That's fine.
I
It's fine.
never got into it. It's only because I think when I was young, my dad was like, yeah, we don't like the Beatles here. Okay.
Oh.
And he was
I'm
also
not bringing up any son of mine with the Beatles.
That sounds like there's a story there.
And then he was like, the other one was like, yeah, we don't do football either. We don't do soccer.
We don't do football.
Come on, Ratty.
And he was like, no, that's what my sister calls me. What did my dad call me? I don't know.
Oi.
Probably.
Oi,
He'd be
you.
like, mistake, come here. Accident, over here, please.
Quick one before we launch the intro music. The podcast Instagram account, which is now Pump Fiction Pod, is that correct?
Yes.
Obviously, do get in touch with us via that. I had a quick look at who we follow as a podcast.
I also had a look at this. Shout out Zac Efron. I hope you're listening.
And the one name I've written on my notes is Zac Efron. Michael, why do we follow Zac Efron?
He did that for me.
I did that for Harry. You know what it was? You know when you make an Instagram account, I mean, I haven't made one for a while. It comes up with suggested things. One was Disney, and I was like, that's definitely been listening to our conversations that we've been
That's
having.
almost concerning. Like, that they're listening.
Do you not know that your phone listens to you?
Just my phone's going to hear some very questionable things, and I think that's probably why therapists keep trying to contact me.
Well, it's like Alexa's listen to you, don't they? The police use it as like keyword things.
Yeah, and the phones do as well. There was a confession on Fesshole on Twitter the other day of this woman that said she got caught by her husband whispering weird words into his phone because she wanted him to get crazy adverts all the time.
That's quite funny, to be fair. I actually respect that.
I can't wait to get all the Disney ads later then.
Yeah, you probably will get some Disney ads later because we said Disney quite a few times. Disney.
This is going to be a test. Let's test it, see what happens. If you get Disney adverts, can you message into the group and be like, it's happened?
Aladdin.
Jake Paul.
You need some random things like Kia cars.
Teeth grills.
Bear Grylls.
I think you'd look great with a teeth grill, Harry.
Do you want to try it?
How
much are they?
Like millions, but like silly.
Yeah,
YouTube doesn't pay me that one, unfortunately.
Fake ones. Get a fake one.
Yeah, I'll just get some. I'll just get some foil, some aluminium foil.
Amazon.
I don't like this game anymore. What if they don't fit?
Okay.
That's the least of your worries.
Right, I'm going to get off and do my Wordle and do the pod intro. Okay. Alrighty then, it's episode 5. We've made it this far. Well done, everyone. And obviously it's a big, very serious show today with all that's going on in the world. So it's going to be a special episode all about Brexit. It's going to be about Boris Johnson. It's going to be about COVID. No, it's not. Of course it's not. We're talking about the fact that Harry's wearing jeggings today.
I'm not wearing jeggings. My legs are just so juiced to the gills.
Show me your leg right now.
Terence, I'm sorry. I actually don't skip leg day like you, physique athlete.
They're 75% spandex.
I'm sorry. You see these quads?
Pure jegging.
You seen these quads?
Look, I've got good quads.
Terence, then why do you compete in physique where you hide them, big man?
I train my legs probably more than my upper body at the moment, mainly because I've got questionable elbows.
1, you're injured, and 2, walking to the gym doesn't count as training your legs. Just want to say that.
We do have set of stairs though you have to go up and down, to be fair.
Too fair, they're treacherous.
My favourite machine at the moment is the hack squat.
Well, because you finally learned how to use it.
Well, no, I've got good legs, so I'm quite,
Prove it. Take your clothes off.
We'll do that at the end of the show. You already got to feel my glutes last episode.
Get Willie out.
Anyway, welcome back. I am Christy Fellows, as always. He, the annoying vocal weirdo over there, is Harry Moore. Say hello, Harry.
Disrespect me again, see what happens.
Exactly, that's his favourite expression. And Michael, who has previously been the quiet one, who's promised this week he's going to be the noisy one. Say hello, Michael Carter.
I don't think I can be the noisy one. We've got this guy here.
Yeah, why you point at Chris, man? It's so rude.
Someone feedback from the last couple of shows is that you two have very similar voices, so I need one of you to adopt an accent just to make some difference.
I think Harry should do it.
No, because I'll get in trouble for doing something.
Depends which accent you do.
I can't do
Do you get cancelled if you do accents?
I think you get cancelled for breathing at this stage in life, to be honest. Like, if I breathe inappropriately, I'm probably going to get cancelled.
It's a concern, isn't
There's
it?
an easier way to figure out who's talking. If it's about any kind of toilet humour, it's probably Harry.
That might be true.
Everything else is probably me.
If it's about favourite coloured leggings, it's Harry.
I do love leggings.
Anyone who's new to Harry on this show would be interested to know that he only really wears leggings, which is probably why his jeans are jeggings.
Look,
they probably fit once upon a time. And
look, you never know when. First of all, you have to kick someone in the head, and when you're going to have to squat to depth. I can do both of those things in these jeans. I showed him.
All right, Chuck Norris.
He's scared of me. I'm not scared of him.
Squatting to depth in the middle of Sainsbury's. I could see you doing that.
Bottom shelf, mate. Bottom shelf.
Arse to grass. We don't play around with that. We're functional, is what we are.
Anyway, today's show, we actually have some predetermined subjects to make sure that we have structure. We had a band meeting before this episode to make sure that we can take this podcast into the dizzy stratospheres of podcasting. And that's why we're talking about 3 key subjects today. We have, Harry, what have we got?
DOMs.
Yes. Another subject, Mike?
Deadlifts.
And we're going to be talking about our favourite snacks, healthy, fitness, proteinous snacks.
Healthy snacks. Oh, okay. Can we do that one last?
Yeah,
yes.
Can we? I need to think about that one for a bit.
Oh, wow. Okay, fine.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Anyway, how have you been? What news do you have for the listeners? Anyone got anything juicy?
Juicy. I've been catching up on my course because I've been so busy, and I'm loving it at the moment. I'm learning all kinds of things about functional anatomy, but actually it's really helpful. And I've already started using it with my clients, so I'm already a genius.
Functional anatomy. Yeah. Surely by default, all anatomy is functional.
Yeah, I guess so. But the course actually helps you understand exercise prescription. So it's reducing redundancy. So when you see PTs just doing random shit in the gym, you're like, what does that do? And they can't give you an answer. The course is like a way of like a hierarchy of needs. So when you prescribe exercise, it's like, can you explain why you're doing that with someone? Yes, cool. You probably should be doing it with them then.
If you can't justify what you're doing you be doing it?
Yeah, but it's because people keep seeing things on Instagram. And luckily, people like you start calling it out.
Bosu ball squats. Do it again, see what happens. I'll pop that ball when you're on it.
or your ACL, whatever.
Yeah, either which goes first, yeah.
Any exercise where you have to balance on something and perform the exercise at the same time.
200% more effective.
100%. Standing up alone is balance enough for me, and I struggle with that. So let's not get the Bosu ball.
It's because of your big head.
Guys, so funny. Big head, big brain, am I right?
Big brain thinking. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, just coursework.
Lovely stuff. Harry, anything exciting?
Nothing really exciting happened. I featured on another podcast.
Oh yeah, traitor.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You're leaving us already?
Yeah, well, when you're on this stage of the YouTube game like I am, you can't help it, can you? Which is actually really good. It was an eating disorder coach in Australia Mia.
Oh.
What Mia did next. Very nice person, actually. And we spoke about loads of problems in the fitness industry and just had a good old chat. And we're going to do some more work together in the future. Lovely person. It was a good time.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, it was good. I've really enjoyed it.
Very good. Very good.
What's it called?
Well, I think it's Beyond Body Coach. That's the thing. But it's on her YouTube channel, which is What Mia Did Next. And it's also going to be on Spotify next Tuesday, I believe.
Cool.
So what did you do, Chris? Come on, tell us about your week, Grandpa.
Spider-Man, have you been up the wall? I saw you.
Oh
up
yeah,
the wall a
I'm
bit.
still climbing on the weekly. I'm actually straight after this show going bouldering again.
When did you last train back?
About 5 days ago.
Just checking.
I did it after the climbing because I didn't want to jeopardize the climbing.
How's your tendinitis there, big man? You look a bit uncomfortable.
It's actually way better because I've been doing lots of tendinitis specific exercises and rehab work and laying off a little bit of upper body training, which is, look, honestly, tendinitis, guys, tennis elbow or golfer's elbow.
Which you got it from doing neither of those things.
Awful.
Honestly,
so annoying.
Just honestly, what I always say, just take your elbows off.
Honestly, if I could. It's so annoying, though.
Oh, it lingers for months.
It's so annoying. And it's just like, I'm getting to the point where I think if I flare it up again, I'm just going to have to stop training for a month, probably, which would scares the bejesus out of me as someone who hasn't really taken a break from training in 10 years. That's probably why I've got the tendinitis.
You can take a break. That's okay.
Well, I kind of had to when I had COVID. I took a break for like 4 weeks when I had COVID.
The Rona.
Yeah, we don't mention the big C on this show.
Get in trouble.
Well, no, it's just done, mate. It's, as you would call it, it's dead. Is it dead? Is that the word you say?
I mean,
claps.
It
Claps. Is it claps?
It's not a pleasant time.
No, it's absolutely not a pleasant time. Well, depending on who you speak to. Anyway, we're not going into the depths of that. But yeah, so climbing's good. I'm enjoying that. It's good. I am enjoying it. When are you coming?
That's a great question.
When isn't he?
When Mike, when are we going climbing?
I've been to the same wall that Chris, so I'm happy to go whenever.
Guys, just the invite, man. Means a lot.
Go on.
Soon.
Cool. Well,
I need to mentally prepare for it. I need to think about my life for a while.
You have to pick the appropriate leggings.
I've only been once, so you and me will have to do the newbie stuff anyway. So Chris, we'll probably need a supervisor because Chris will want to go climb all the big boy stuff and we'll be there.
I'm still a noob though, Tim.
I've climbed a mountain. I'll do it. You see me climb out that window earlier. I don't need a supervisor. I am the supervisor.
Also saw you climb back in through the window afterwards.
Yeah, bloody SAQ, speed, agility, quickness. Okay.
Wow.
That half roll.
Strong acronym.
I thought it was really good. I'm quite agile for someone who weighs.
You're very military based, aren't you?
I am. I did actually want to be in the military.
Were you
for
in
a
the
while.
cadets?
Do you have one of those gym bags that looks like a military rucksack?
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Hi, Mike. Let's attack you on the podcast today.
Oh my god!
I just want to clarify: if anyone's listening to this and you have one of those big rucksacks that says "athlete" on it, that's fine. You do you.
Don't they usually have your flag as well, velcroed onto it? Like a
yeah.
You
can get all
does that
stuff.
come from CrossFit? Those bags? Is that where it's come from?
Yeah, quite. Yeah, I think it's because CrossFit's actually steeped in quite a lot of like military history as well.
I cannot fathom why you would need such a big gym bag. Like, you don't need that big a gym bag.
I would argue I have 2 laptops, so I take 2 laptops, a pair of shoes, a pair of clothes, some food. It all fits in there, and because it zips all the way round, you can literally open the whole thing up and you can just place it in. You don't have to lose stuff in the bottom of the bag.
The difference is, obviously, Chris is talking about it from a gym bag perspective. Chris, how many times have you taken a laptop to the gym?
Never.
How many times have you taken 2 laptops to the gym?
Well, no, I don't take one.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Why are you taking your laptop into the gym?
Yeah, what's going on, big man?
I take everything everywhere with me.
I actually work.
Do you live out of a bag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay, that's fine.
That
yeah,
makes
okay.
sense.
You win.
Okay.
No, but the people.
There's a locker. You've got lockers in your gym. What
I also have an office.
He does also. Fair point. He's kind of done
No,
me there.
I'm a nomad. I like to move around. I will say though, the people that bring everything to the gym, powerlifters who have that huge, massive bag. How's that any different?
Yeah, that annoys me as well.
And you.
But that's you.
But my bag's quite small, actually.
I've seen it. Yeah, it is quite small.
Leaving a trail of chalk behind him as he goes everywhere.
I need chalk up for deadlifts.
You know, you shouted out someone. You put him on blast last time, Ryder.
Oh yeah, Tash.
Yeah, have you seen Ryder's bag? Ryder's gonna love this. Ryder's got everything. He's got like 4 pairs of straps, knee sleeves that are like. I mean, it's useful, but he is like a little merchant, just carrying everything around. He doesn't use any of it. Doesn't need it.
He lives in the bag. He doesn't have a house. That's his bed. That's why him and Tash spend time together. She's like, "Hey, do you want to come over?" Just hops in the bag. That's what happens. I hope they're listening to this. I'm going to call Matt again twice.
We do love you both.
Yeah, we tolerate you.
Good.
Whoa.
So, yeah. Anyway, shall we move on to some core subjects, guys? We feeling vibey?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. So, Harry, you're going to lead.
We talk about DOMs today and whether having... So DOMs obviously being delayed onset of muscle soreness. So when you work out, you do like nasty, juicy leg day. So like Chris, you've done your first ever leg day, we've gone the hack squat. And the next day you feel a bit fruity in the legs, a bit spicy. Then the day after, second day, you feel even worse. And you'll say like, I'm sorry, what's going on? Do I need to go to the hospital? That's DOMs, the soreness. Does that mean you've had a good workout? Okay, we're going to discuss that. I already know my answer, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. So, Mike, do DOMs correlate to the effectiveness of a workout?
No.
Okay, that's easy. What about you, Chris?
I'm going to say it depends.
Oh, go on. Elaborate, justify, please.
Well, no, I don't. I think DOMs can basically come from various things. So let's say if you haven't trained in a couple of weeks or maybe even a week plus and you go and do a workout, the chances are your DOMs will be a lot worse than if you train. Let's say you train a body part twice a week. You're going to struggle to get kind of world-ending DOMs in that body part. So it's probably the frequency of how often you train will dictate those DOMs to a degree. There's also the variation of a workout. Let's say you do a different exercise that you wouldn't normally do to target, like let's say 1 week you do squats and the other week you do hack squats. They're doing similar things but at different angles and different frequencies and so on. That's again going to control your DOMs as well. So there's so many factors into how you can achieve DOMs, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's making the progress you want. So it depends. But ultimately, no, I don't really think it does. But mentally, for me, if I have good DOMs, I feel good.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like that's the easy identifier, isn't it? And I'm interested to hear what you have to say. But
if anyone says it depends, I'm gonna punch you in the nose.
No, because what I'm going to say is obviously like for me, the way I look at it is DOMs is like over applied intensity in a session. So like, when you work out a little bit too much or a little too hard, you get the DOMs.
It's a mental stimulant for me, a DOM, because like it just means that if I feel sore, I'll be like, yeah, that was a really good workout the other day. And it's just, it's bullshit, but it works.
It's interesting because I look at it as like, exactly what I've said. I've over applied intensity for that session. So I'm like, now I'm going to suffer because my power output's gone down. I'm not going to be strong, all those kind of things. What's your angle, Harry?
Oh, no. Basically, DOMs are more closely associated to the introduction of a new stimulus, be that a new variation, like you said, be that change of intensity, time off, etc., etc. So if you do something new, different, I guess, arguably novel, then you're likely going to feel a bit crappy afterwards. So if I don't do split squats for a few weeks and I do split squats, my arse is going to be battered. It doesn't matter if my intensity is high or low, and ultimately what will greatly determine whether the workout's been effective from like let's say a muscle building standpoint is essentially intensity. I could do split squats, 6 reps in reserve, which we know is not going to yield a very positive result for hypertrophy, but I'll probably be quite sore. Whereas if I actually want to, I think the best way of determining effectiveness of a workout is by tracking the numbers. Did you do more than the previous week? So essentially progressive overload. So did you squat a bit more, maybe more reps, maybe another set, maybe heavier weight, whatever it may be. Did you progressively overload? And is your intensity within that kind of 0 to 4 RIR range?
What does RIR mean?
Reps in reserve. So how many you have left in the tank?
And so would you prefer people trained with reps in the tank?
Ultimately, I think it's a time and a place. But the research suggests that there is little difference regarding hypertrophy benefit between 4 reps in reserve and going to failure. There is obviously some benefit, so you will likely yield a slightly higher hypertrophy response. But ultimately, the biggest factor that changes is going to be fatigue. You're going to yield a much greater fatigue kind of build up from going to failure versus 3 or 4 RIR. But the reason why I often promote to people you should probably train to failure is because people are notoriously bad at gauging where failure actually is. So if I said, okay, I'm with a client, let's say, they're quite new to the gym, but they want to get into bodybuilding. Fantastic, you do you. I say, all right, we're going to shoot for about 3 reps in reserve. They'll do a set, they'll get 12 reps, and they're like, oh, I think I had about 3 left in the tank. So, okay, and we're going to try that again, but this time you're going to go balls to the wall until you physically cannot complete a full rep. And they'll probably get about 17 or 18. It's like, well, that was not 3 reps in reserve. You had more than 4, therefore you're not in that kind of green zone. People just can't gauge where failure is, which is fine. Like, it's almost a skill, and it's taken me a while to get, I'm only just getting better at it.
Yeah. A trick with clients is I ask them to do that, and then I start talking to them towards the end of the set. I've
Yeah.
done that before, and people are like, yeah, this feels good, and I'm like, do you know how many more you've done? It's like, no, it's like 10.
Yeah, literally.
It's like,
And then it was
Whoops.
like, the thing is, the other thing I want to clarify is, like, a rep range is a target and almost like a range. But if you get 12 reps and you've still got 5 left in the tank, keep going.
Yeah, always.
Keep going. Go for the, like, close to failure. Don't worry so much about, but it was more than 12. Okay, that's either a warm-up, which you've now kind of wasted a bit of energy on, or you just do more reps so you can grow in all rep ranges.
You can I think that's a great thing to say, actually, because even if you've prescribed yourself X amount of reps, you don't actually have to stop where it says that. If you feel you've got more in the tank, and no one says we're not saying go to failure, but if you can do another couple of reps because it feels good, then do.
Yeah,
you're overperforming based on what you thought you could do, so maybe you can now push yourself a little bit more.
Absolutely. I think ultimately it also comes down to your ability to recover. So I feel like I recover quite well. Obviously, I'm in a calorie surplus, a lot of things to consider as to why my recovery may be better than another person's. So I can kind of justify going to failure. But I also acknowledge that, first of all, failure doesn't mean I physically cannot move. Failure means that my technique is breaking down.
Technical failure.
Yeah, so technical failure is more important, I think. But ultimately, over the years, because that's something comes down to like injury prevention, but over the years, when you get better, technical failure and muscular failure start coming around the same time because you have just embedded how you lift and your movement patterns are pretty solid, which is what we want to shoot for. And I think, like I said, I usually push for failure in everything, apart from like deadlifts and squats and bench press.
Yeah.
Because I think due to obviously being the free weights, there are safety considerations to take into mind. Like
it's a compound movement, so therefore, when you start to fail on a big compound movement, the likelihood is, a third-party muscle is the one that's going to suffer as a result.
Yeah, your lower back is probably going to start collapsing and things like that. Technique gets a bit fruity. Whereas, like if you do a hack squat, for example, you could probably push it to failure.
Yeah.
I'm not saying actually fail, just get to the point where, I don't think I have anything
the
left.
machine takes a lot of the stability element out, so it's a lot safer to go to failure as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I think machines actually wildly overlooked when looking at like hypertrophy. And I was guilty of this as well.
Yeah,
when I was like getting trained, I was like, nah, free weights only. But if you actually look at optimizing the building of muscle, it's like, well, the free weights are fantastic, but they have a lot of variables to consider, like stability, like additional muscles that are going to take over or maybe fatigue first, whereas machines can place greater emphasis or allow you to place greater emphasis on the muscles you're really targeting. And also, if you do fail, it's a bit safe to do so.
I love a machine for kind of the fatigue phase of a workout finishing, because ultimately you can keep going knowing that all failure means is you just won't get another rep out. It's not, that's the best way to really get the most out of the muscle at the end of a workout safely. No one's going to do squats as their last exercise, because when it begins to feel horrible, it's not going to look good, is it? It's not going to end well.
Absolutely.
There's more risk attached to it then as well, isn't there?
Massively, especially when you're at the end of a leg session, you're probably fried. But I think ultimately, like, it's sure go to failure, but you don't feel like you have to all the time. Or maybe just go to failure for the last set or something like that. But realistically, you need to be in that kind of green zone if you're looking at, I guess, really gauging how effective your workout is and then seeing if you can do more each week. And then, which is fantastic. And you will probably feel sore from doing so. Obviously, going back to the original question of DOMs and their correlation to it or relation to it. It's like, you'll probably feel sore increasing your intensity. The movement hasn't changed, but how hard you're pushing has. But over time, that soreness will fade. And just because you're not sore anymore doesn't mean you need to change something. Like I said, I've done the same kind of split until recently for months. And I'm rarely particularly sore after a workout.
Yeah.
But every workout, I will try and do a bit more.
And I think you actually came onto a good point there about like people's relationship with exercise can get quite unhealthy if they're constantly chasing pain as an indicator of success. And I think that's the other thing I wanted to come out with DOMs is that's something you have to be really careful with. If you don't understand what is effective programming, how progressive overload actually works, it's not just intensity and then does it hurt? Did it hurt while I was doing it? Yes. It's like, well, pain isn't always a good sign.
Yeah, and the other thing is, okay, how much do you hurt? A lot. Okay, quantify it. I don't know, 1 out of 10. Okay, well, what is a 1 out of 10? I don't know. It changes every week. Do you know what I mean? You can't really quantify how much you hurt. Yeah. So gauging how sore you are as a kind of indicator of how effective your session was is really unreliable.
Yeah, and I hear it after classes still now. Like when I'm, that was a really good workout. Yeah, I felt really sore the next day. Like muscles were stiff, and I'm like,
It's still a nice badge of honor sometimes to feel a bit sore though. Like I do enjoy, like, as someone who's wanted to build a bigger chest over the years, if I have a workout and it feels really sore the next day, And whereas in previous weeks it might not have done, and I'm still training it frequently. And if I can get that soreness, often I get it when I train with someone else and they've pushed me a bit further than I could go on my own.
Yeah.
Then I'll feel good because I'm like, well, I've done some damage there. It's gonna if I eat right, if I'm eating in a surplus, the chances are, might make it grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what Chris said earlier about mentally, it feels nice. Like when I wake up the next day with DOMs, although I know it doesn't mean anything really, it's like I said, a badge of honor. I feel good. I just feel a bit better about myself. Like I feel like
silly, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's just like, you know what? It's like a reward.
But the mental side of it's just as important, isn't it? So I
also think like a bit of a curveball when looking at DOMs is I think there may, again, I'm just literally off the dome here, there may be a chance that DOMs could indicate maybe faulty movement patterns. And what I mean by that is I actually noticed the other day is that I did pec deck flies, for example, and I'm trying to kind of learn to bend my elbows a bit more on the eccentric so I can then fully extend the elbows on the concentric, obviously allowing the humerus to come across the body a bit more, shorten the muscle a bit further. Fantastic.
Technical talk.
Optimize the range of motion, all that shit. But then I noticed that my biceps the next day were a bit fruity. So I had like minor DOMs, which to me indicates that maybe my elbows were a bit too bent.
You're
so my biceps
too much.
Yeah, my biceps are having to get too involved in the stabilization of that. So it's okay, well, now I know that my movement pattern probably wasn't optimal because I'm starting to get DOMs in the biceps. Again, this doesn't necessarily mean it isn't. I'm saying there's a consideration. Yeah. Maybe the DOMs came from the fact that I would usually maybe do flies with a slightly straighter arm, but now I've changed the stimulus and my arm's a bit more bent. They're just reacting, saying, "Oh, this is new." But I think there is a consideration that it could potentially be used to gauge whether your movement patterns are a bit off. If other muscles that maybe shouldn't be hurting are starting to hurt the next day.
Very good.
Sorry, I've rambled.
Do we feel like I'm not going to hit you with a klaxon? We're reducing klaxon usage. So
I think in conclusion, can we all conclude that DOMs don't necessarily correlate to the effectiveness of a workout?
Yep.
But
it's a badge of honor.
But sometimes it's nice.
It's a mental stimulus more than anything.
Yeah.
But I think it would also potentially indicate, because obviously novelty is a factor with DOMs as well, that maybe you've touched on a movement which might be quite good for your program for a while, because actually it's novel and it's different. It's stimulated the muscle in such a way that you now have DOMs.
Yeah,
so it's like, well, maybe this is a good thing for me.
Yeah, we know there's an argument that kind of adding new movements, when you start incorporating new movement, can potentially use that earlier period heighten like hypertrophy response. But again, there's research kind of going for that, which we could get into another time.
Yeah.
But
good stuff. Right,
focus on progressive overload. That's what I say.
Oh, good. Right, before we move on to the next subject, I want to play something that is relevant to right now, to this week, that we're all gonna hear now. Here we go. This is for you, Harry, because it's the only way I could think to do it.
I hate this.
Oh.
It sounds like a horror movie.
His face right now.
This is the best day of my life.
Oh, listen to that. Double kick.
I wanted to wish you happy birthday, obviously, because it was your birthday this week.
Thanks,
obviously, I can't use conventional happy birthday music, so the only one that really would suit you is a death metal happy birthday.
Did you do the piano of that?
This isn't my work.
I thought it was the eels for a sec. I was like, Chris, you're quite good at screaming, man. It's really impressive.
I didn't know he had the range.
Should have contacted Lorna Shaw.
Oh yeah, they would have loved that.
I would have cried.
Do you like that?
I'm a big fan.
I really rate that.
That was quite
awesome.
Good. I appreciate that.
Happy birthday, Harry. How old are you?
Too old. I'm 28 years old.
Too old. Get in the bin.
I'm 28.
Please.
I feel old. I appreciate that. Thank you. I try and hide my birthday from people.
Yeah, I messaged him yesterday to wish him happy birthday because I saw a couple of people had done so, and he was like, "Oh, it was actually my birthday the day before."
Yeah,
so
can you notice
exactly the same thing to me?
Yeah, can you notice how I only reshared the stories? Because I always, if you tag me in a story, I'll always reshare it. I'll try to, unless I miss it, but it's my bad. I reshared them all after midnight, after my birthday had passed.
Odd chap.
So I waited.
Too cool for school.
I don't like. Birthdays.
Anyway, happy birthday. Thought I'd get that out there. We haven't prepared a cake or anything, but you've got our company, which is as good as...
Even worse. Oh, thanks for the wrapper, Mike.
Actually, you've had some miniature heroes already, which are on the table.
Doris, if hit my macros, I promise.
More on that later.
Okay. Good stuff. Good start. So next subject, we decided to talk about how to get the most out of deadlift technique this week.
Technique this week.
Did
not know you were a rapper.
Oh, you might get a bit of rapping later.
Oh, God. I can't wait.
I cannot wait. Can you hear the excitement
What
in
is
my
wrong with
voice?
your lack of enthusiasm for my creativity?
I am very excited. Can you not tell?
I'm putting effort in for this show, and you just besmirch my name. You just put me down.
Sorry, Mum.
You're supposed to encourage. You're supposed to uplift.
What do you build me up?
Do you want to sing on my next production?
Please.
I don't want to put you to shame, big man. You should hear me on stream.
Okay, Mike, lead, please.
Lead. Okay, so how are we going to approach this question? Are we going like how to improve your deadlift?
So
I think there are too many variables to consider in that one.
there's a lot to talk about on a deadlift, but I think the best thing that we could possibly talk about is because a lot of people like to deadlift, which is great. Men and women and girls, boys and children, not children, but
maybe. I've seen some children on
dogs.
YouTube deadlift before.
It's nuts, isn't it?
It's crazy, impressive.
How do you feel about people below a certain age? Because some people say, their bodies are still developing.
Was it Scott University did a post basically stating how like women say, you shouldn't go to gym under 16 because it can stunt growth. You're not under spinal compression for long enough to actually hinder your growth plates.
Surely, my theory is if you put the body under that kind of stress when you're in an incredible growth phase, it's only going to make you grow even better.
Well, that's the way I look at it. And I think also if you do it under a coach's eye who's sensible loading, frequency, intensity, you're learning how to move. Like moving and doing exercises is just practicing movement. So if you practice it safely, then...
Yeah, well, that's it. I think the big thing there is safely. Like, if you're going to lift, just lift properly. The last thing you want is to have a kid who's 15 years old with a herniated disc.
Well, if you're teaching trash technique to a 15-year-old, chances are you're teaching trash technique to a 30-year-old.
And then you should probably go home, tell your mum that you need to consider a new career path because Mike told you off.
Reported to social services for teaching bad technique.
100%.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that Jonathan here, he's clapped. You just stop him.
Okay, so what I think we should talk about in relation to improving your deadlift are maybe the exercises surrounding a deadlift that can improve it.
Ooh, okay.
The best movement to help your deadlift. You ready for this? It's probably your deadlift.
Ooh, there it is.
So, okay, that's interesting because for me, I think there's other exercises you can do that will complement.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. RDLs, things like that, GHR.
Right, so that's what I think is worth talking about. And ways to improve your deadlift. Harry, you must have some great tips for that. As a man who spent dedicated so many years to improving a deadlift.
I think most times that ultimately, I think the first thing you'll consider is what does your deadlift actually look like? Is it trash? Like, focus on the deadlift first before you start focusing on the additional stuff. Like, are you moving well? What's your technique look like? Like, there are small things you could do to just make you essentially lift better, more effectively. Let's say you've nailed all of that. Okay, well, I really want to get better at my deadlift, but what's really holding me back is my hamstrings. They're like my hamstrings are really far behind. They're like the weakness in my chain. Okay, well, do more things that help target that area. Okay, what's good for that? Okay, RDLs, fantastic hamstring builder. Even going down to isolation, obviously a bigger muscle has the potential to be a stronger muscle. So don't be afraid to try and pack on some mass. Do you know what I mean?
So obviously in the stages of a deadlift, different muscles play different parts, and you'll see some people who struggle to get a bar off the ground, and you'll see some people who struggle to lock out.
Lock out, yeah.
So what's coming into effect in there? What's affecting that?
I've got something that is coming to my mind, but I want to hear what Mike has to say first.
Okay, so starting with the first one off the ground, I think setup is really important. So are you able to create tension and then maintain tension as the bar breaks, which is basically where the bar comes off the floor? Those are two things I look for when I'm with a client, as a coach. If people cannot maintain tension without the bar even moving, chance of them being able to maintain tension then while adding movement and velocity to it, it's going to go. So that's one thing I look at is tension.
I think the first thing I probably look at, depending on like where you're failing the lift, it kind of comes down to a similar sort of thing like technique. Like what's your back positioning look like? So people who often really struggle at lockout, more often than not will have a rounded upper back, be that intentionally or not. So their upper back
curved downwards as opposed to overarching.
So they're looking like a shitting dog, sort of thing. Not maybe to that extent, but they're rounding their upper back, which again a lot of people do intentionally round that upper back when deadlifting because it can help with speed off the floor. But the argument is that you then have to go into shoulder retraction when you're at that lockout position with a lot of weight, so you can sacrifice the top portion being the lockout. Flip it around, people who have a really straight back and like flat back, tend to be a bit slower off the floor, but may find it easier to lock out. So again, that comes down to a technical thing. But yeah, I think maintaining tension throughout the lift, actually, like even small things like pulling the sack out the bar, keeping that
leg drive is another one.
Like treat the move as like a push and a pull. You kind of push off the floor, like a leg press off the floor, and then you pull to lock out.
I think one of the best tips that I ever got and that I often pass on is imagine when you're pulling that deadlift, imagine that you're actually pushing your heels through the floor.
Because
a lot of people just think of it as a pull, but really you're pushing your legs down as you're pulling up. It's the whole point is they call it the king of the lifts, because essentially your whole body has a part to play in this. Well, most of it has a part to play in this movement. So just try and engage everything at the same time. A lot of people will end up splitting a deadlift into two movements, which is wrong, because ultimately you're not maximizing the amount of
force applied.
So synchronicity between legs and upper body.
I had it with a client not too long ago. He was deadlifting. It looked fine, and he was like, it feels really hard to pick it off the floor. And I was like, are you using your legs? And he just kind of gave me a blank stare. And I was like, try next time pushing your legs through the floor. Imagine your hands are hooks and that your arms are rope. Don't try and pull the bar. And it just flew up, and he just looked at me like I was some kind of wizard. I was like, you're now just using the right muscles.
That's when you start seeing people, when they kind of pick up the deadlift, their first go-to is, I want to lean back with it, and almost like
hyperextend in the lumbar.
Yank it back. So, well, no, drive your push your hips through
to the bar, not through the bar.
Literally, I almost feel like almost to some extent like a kettlebell swing, hips popping through, like really drive those hips forward. Like you don't have to do a backflip to lock it out, and you shouldn't hyperextend because you're going to be in a bit of a bad situation.
Something that I got taught, which I actually didn't realize I did, because I used to do that, is as soon as the bar got to about just past the knee, throw the hips forward. And you lock out so much faster. You don't then just lean back and then try and squeeze your glutes. Like just squeezing your glutes at the top of the movement isn't going to make them stronger. It's actually probably more so when the bar's on the floor and you 100%. Break the bar off the floor, the glutes are actually working harder because they're in a more stretched position.
So they're in that lengthened position.
I think your setup, so your positioning of where your glutes actually start is interesting, because some people will start with their glutes quite high and therefore they'll end up be doing more with their upper back. Whereas if you start too low, then you're starting too much with the legs. So it's finding that sweet spot.
That ultimately, I think, comes down to leverages, like just like the biomechanics of how long certain bits and bobs are. So for example, if you're deadlifting and your hips are shooting up, quite an easy fix is I think you probably need to start with your hips a bit higher because they're shooting up to where they want to be.
You're finding the tension, aren't you, in the hamstrings? And it's like a clutch in a car. It's like, oh, there it is, boom, up.
Like some people can deadlift almost vertical and it's absolutely fine, but lucky them, they've got the biomechanics that allow them to do so, which is probably quite an advantage ultimately. Like especially when you're sumo deadlifting, the best sumo deadlifters usually are nearly bloody upright.
Okay, next, there's a tangent there then. So sumo versus conventional.
Do what's best for you. It really depends on your literally based on leverages. Masthetics and Omar Isuf did a video years ago that basically split down saying, how long is your torso, longer than this or shorter than this, arms longer than this, shorter than this, and legs. Whatever your answers were determine whether you could do conventional, sumo, or both. But it is ultimately down to, from a powerlifting perspective, optimizing how much weight you can lift. Sumo is shorter range of motion, so arguably like that's going to be easier. The biggest raw deadlift ever, obviously removing like the equipped lifting like Thor and Eddie, etc., was done sumo recently by a girl. Actually, no, it was recently done by I believe he's a Polish man who deadlifted.
Is that Dr. Deadlift?
I was going to say that's the name that springs to my mind.
The first Jamal Browner, I think that's his name, who's a young guy, just deadlifted 483 kilos raw.
Wild.
Bear in mind the world record was 501 with Thor.
That's bonkers.
Some random Polish dude I've never heard of before just deadlift like 1.5 kilos more, like 484.
Stronger by Science, I think, podcast.
Insane.
It,
But I think the heaviest raw conventional is like, I know Jamal's done 440, I think. So there's obviously a big difference. But ultimately, like you lift, from a powerlifting perspective, or like lifting as much weight, do whatever essentially allows you to lift the most, especially if you want to compete. From a muscle building perspective, I'd favour the conventional deadlift because it's superior for things like the lower back, etc., etc.
I would say from a muscle bodybuilding perspective, I would sooner do a trap bar.
It depends what you're trying to achieve. Like, if, for example, my lumbar region needs to get addressed, I'll probably do a conventional. Trap bar obviously brings in the quads a bit more, things like that. So I probably would if I'm going to then
very
treat
athletic, the trap bar.
If I'm going to treat the trap bar as like a bodybuilding movement, then I'm probably going to do so more for the quads. But even then, I'd rather do a hack squat or something similar, something that allows me to lengthen the muscle a bit more.
You can lift a lot with a trap bar because obviously the weight's beside you rather than in front of you, so leverages are. And that going back to like types of deadlift, like a clean deadlift, which is obviously precursor to doing like clean and jerks and things like that. Of course. There's a lot more quads because your hips sit a lot lower.
You're in the floor.
You're in the pocket, so your quads initiate the move, and that's. I think knowing what kind of deadlift you want to be doing, because I had another client as well who showed me his deadlift, and I was like, he was like, I'm doing it all wrong because it doesn't look the same as what I watch, and I'm like, no,
your body is very different.
You're doing a movement, it's just not quite the one that you thought you were, but you've still got a good deadlift. It's just a different type of deadlift. We actually need to just do this one for a while too, bias and change the angles. And he was like, oh, okay.
So maybe get someone who knows what they're looking at to study.
A coach's eye. Yeah,
it does help a
lot.
lot.
Eye helps.
Ultimately, it comes down to the first question you have to ask is, why are you deadlifting? If it, like I said, if it's powerlifting, bodybuilding, Olympic lifting, whatever it may be, that will determine how you deadlift essentially. And the best deadlift for you is the one that aligns best with your goals. So like I said, if you're muscle building, I would favor a conventional over a sumo, depending on what you're trying to target. If you're powerlifting and you can lift more sumo, I'd probably favor a sumo over a conventional because you can lift more and ultimately you get judged on how much you can lift. If you're doing Olympic weightlifting, I would favor a conventional over a sumo because the sumo doesn't have
crossover of movements, isn't it?
Exactly. You're going to have to conventional deadlift into a clean anyway. Why would you sumo that?
Yeah.
Like, do you mean it's all about why you're doing what you're doing?
Context around it. If you're performance related, then you favour the thing that would help you with the performance.
Exactly.
And then even that, it's a subsection of like, what is the performance requirement, blah, blah, blah.
What's your justification behind it?
Yeah.
So just quickly then, exercises that would complement to strengthen overall. So what are we saying?
I think when looking at like purely let's just a universal perspective, just movements I like that I think can have quite a good carryover to the deadlift. Not for everyone, but for me personally, I like things like the RDL.
Yep.
I really like that a lot.
Stiff leg deadlift.
So yeah, like a similar, like a Romanian deadlift. I also like the GHL, so glute ham raise. We obviously don't have one at East Park, but you can do a back extension. You can simulate like a hyperextension. You can kind of make one with a hyperextension, which then kind of goes into realm maybe like a Nordic drop, something that really helps.
Yeah, Nordic curls are awesome.
Yeah, they are excellent.
Really, and they're really good for injury prevention when it comes
to your knees.
When looking at like hamstring tears. A friend of mine actually did their master's thesis on the implementing Nordic drops or Nordic curls, whatever you want to call them, as a means of preventing hamstring tears in athletes, and they deem them to be a very effective movement for doing so.
Isn't it something to do with because the tension is and the weight and the intensity of it is because it's at a different part of the strength curve? Because if you do like a lying leg curl, it's a different bias, whereas if you do a Nordic...
That's so true, yeah.
Well, ultimately, the Nordic drop, from the conventional standpoint, where you're going just down, is essentially you're loading through the lengthened position. It's an eccentric dominant movement, whereas like a leg curl is a concentric dominant movement, where even if you're trying to shorten that muscle. And I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that all muscles are at their weakest when they're at their shortest. So obviously taking the Nordic drop.
Yeah, I think end range, like a lot of people don't train. I think we touched on this before. A lot of people don't train at end range.
Yeah, full ROM, which kind of goes back to why trap bar may not necessarily be the best for the quads, because although you can lift a lot, you're really missing out that kind of bottom range of like the lengthened position. But again, you can do it for other reasons. So I think
those are your ones.
I'd say like summarizing RDL. GHR hyperextension, something along those lines, like a back raise thing that you can play around with, and then like a Nordic drop or some similar.
Yeah,
I'm into it. I think I would have suggested exactly the same.
Yeah. Great.
I think the only ones I would probably add to that would be like a rack pull for either for
helping your lockout. Yeah.
Things like farmers walks to help with grip and pull-ups.
Yeah, it depends what your weakness is.
Grip does tend to be the most limiting factor for most people, especially when you get to a certain strength level. I touched on it with DOMs about when you get so strong, other limiting factors come into play quicker.
Your grip will never be as strong as your posterior chain.
And I'm such a sucker for being a purist and not using straps, and this is why my deadlift.
Just learn to hook grip.
Switch grip for me, I don't care if it's imbalanced.
Well, I think you can fight that, compensate with like anti-rotational movements like Palloff press, things like that. Definitely going to help.
As long as you've got nice strong biceps as well, because that's why the tears happen.
Yeah,
it's because of the tension being at both ends of the muscle. You just see the...
That scares me a bit. It does.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we've rounded that one off quite well.
I think we answered that really well.
Well done.
We're getting better at this.
Look at us learning.
Look, it's episode 5, guys. We're still trying to improve on this show, and this is why we actually do encourage you as listeners to contribute, which is why we have the Pump Fiction Pod Instagram. So please do contribute to the show. If you disagree with what we have to say, or you have a contrasting opinion to what we have to say, then DM, get in touch with us.
Or if you actually just have any questions or things you want us to cover in the podcast, it doesn't necessarily have to be fitness related. It could be like silly things like, how many times do you wipe when you go to the toilet? A question I would love to know the answer to. Then you can put that on the podcast on the Instagram as well.
I love that Mike got his phone out to film.
Mike, you best to record that and you best be posting that because that is gold.
Michael got his phone out to film a little snippet, probably for social media.
If you don't post that, you're out the show. Just
as Harry decides to take it completely down the toilet, literally.
Look, I am the humour and the fun of this podcast, guys. Come on now.
You are the youth.
I am the youth.
You're something.
I'm the liability of this podcast, guys. Come on.
Clinging on to your 20s for dear life.
So why are you piping up as if you're not clinging on to your 30s, Grandpa?
Well, I realise that, but you're just being ageist now, which I don't appreciate.
I love you.
Questionable. Okay, so we'll do our final subject then before we move on to a little Q&A finisher.
This is healthy snacks. This is a bit of you. Probably more you and Mike, I think. Probably more you.
I say,
yeah. I changed my mind.
Yeah,
Chris, why don't you lead this one? Go on, talk to me about healthy snacks. What are your protein little tips for people eating?
I think it's worth. I think the best thing you can do if you want to make progress with a diet, whether it be, I think diet's a bad word as well. I think the way I use diet, I don't actually mean like a diet, like a crash diet,
like
or
keto diet or something like that. Yeah.
Diet is simply the word I use for the food I eat on a daily basis. So
more like eating habits.
Eating habits, yeah. So the best way you can achieve long-term goals is to adjust your eating habits. But equally, no one really wants to eat the same boring stuff all the time. So therefore, when you get stuck on the old diet plans, and Harry, who doesn't really care, will just eat chicken, rice, and broccoli all the time.
I love just no flavour and just
I can't live like that.
No. It's because I don't really eat for like the enjoyment anymore. I eat for function, not for flavour. Call me Jay Cutler. No, it's more just because it's just another variable of the day I don't have to think about.
No, that's fair.
I can understand it if I'm prepping for a bodybuilding show or a photo shoot. Then I totally understand the. It's very useful to have that monotony because it's not another thing to think about, because when you're deep in a deep deficit dieting, then yes, I can understand why monotony is quite useful, but there's no reason why you can't have monotonous meals that you enjoy.
I think it's just I need to invest the time and effort into figuring out what those are, and I'm not mentally ready to.
Do you like cooking?
Yeah, no, I actually quite enjoy cooking. I don't like how time-consuming it is because it does take time, but I do actually enjoy cooking.
Because that's one thing I've myself, like I didn't just like cooking, and then when I started to experiment with food and enjoy cooking a bit more, and it was a bit more experience, my diet improved a lot.
That's good. I think the more you learn about cooking and what goes into certain foods, and that's how you can achieve a really nicely balanced diet, definitely. So so I'm just going to throw out some of the things I do meal-wise that I find make my life more interesting. Yep. So evening meals for me, like hot meals, I'd say one of the a very easy thing you can do is pasta sauces, right? Ooh. Good way to get your vegetables into the body without having to... I mean, greens is good as well. But for me, they complement... So if you're cooking meats in a pan, add half a jar of pasta sauce with that and stir-fry vegetables, let's say, grab a bag of that. That, for me, just makes a very quick meal, which you can then either add rice to, you can add noodles to, you can add... It depends on your nutrition, for example. So stuff like that is good for meals. And then snack-wise, one of my favourite things at the moment, it's not really a snack, it's another meal, is egg whites with rice and then 0 Greek yogurt.
You brought this in a few episodes ago.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
This is a great...
I want to try that.
This is a great carb. Right, no, let me explain. I haven't finished. It's a sweet one.
I'm already bought in.
So it's for people who actually want carbs, because this is not so much a dieting thing. Although it can, it depends on.
I love carbs.
Fits into your macros. So what I do is it's basically like, do you like rice pudding? Do you like that?
I love rice. Yeah.
So sticky rice is the best rice. First of all, can we agree?
Yeah, no, I fully back that. Sticky rice is far superior to any other. Jasmine is kind of close because it's quite sticky.
Wait a minute. So there's actually a type of rice called sticky rice.
So it's Oriental rice essentially.
You lived in China for like a year. How do you not know
I
this?
did not know what I was eating because I could not speak the language. So I was
Google
just being
Translate, big man. Google Translate.
Google Translate. What is that? Google Translate. They'll just laugh and just slop it on the bowl.
You wouldn't have been around when this was a thing where you can put your camera up to something.
Nah.
Have you seen that now?
Yes, but
it's
no.
bloody amazing.
World Lens or whatever it's called. No.
Blows my mind.
So sticky rice is way more enjoyable to eat large quantities of if you're trying to gain
sticky rice.
So
It's quite sticky.
Egg whites, sticky rice, and then a big heaped scoop of Greek yogurt, 0 fat, and then I put sweetener in it. So you can use stevia if you want, or I use skinny syrups, for example. So the skinny syrups, maple syrup is excellent.
Ooh.
And then maybe some cinnamon, and I stir all that together, and my God, it's one of my favourite meals.
I'm going to try that, and I'll put it on Instagram.
Sounds like too much flavour for me, guys. I'm going to have to give that a hard pass, I'm afraid.
About protein bars, you on board with protein bars?
Rarely. There are a couple I can tolerate, like obviously Dual Fuel, my friend's company that I've put on my Instagram story. Like the couple of obviously I'm not eating the peanut butter thing because peanut butter's just trash. Let's not go there. But the one I had was actually really nice.
Cancelled.
So I have that. Like I probably wouldn't go actively like. I would really go buy a box of protein bars.
I love a protein bar.
But but ultimately, I just prefer eating food. I think they can be very convenient, but I'm not in the stage of my life where having that kind of hyper convenience is really that necessary.
But it's not about that. It's about ticking off a craving for a chocolate bar for me.
I'm going to be straight with you. If you dare even compare a protein bar to a chocolate bar, I think we need to have a serious talk about how you were raised.
I'm not comparing. I'm just saying it fills that gap. Do you know
what fills that gap for me?
Chocolate.
Yeah, a kilo bar of dairy milk.
Yeah, okay? There is an argument said if you want chocolate, eat chocolate. But I do agree with Chris. Some protein bars are questionable. They're like, that is basically a chocolate bar.
If if it doesn't have more sugar than protein, I don't want it. I'm here for the bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just
okay. I'm here for what was deemed to be bad when sugar's really not going to kill you. I just want to clarify.
Well, I guess it depends on what bad food is. If it helps you reach your goals, is it bad?
I don't really think any food's bad or good. I think ultimately it's like every food has a function. It's moderation. Isn't it?
Just balance that.
I think I can understand if I were in a deficit maybe and I wouldn't have that freedom to eat the foods I enjoyed more of, then I think I would a protein bar would tick that box.
Dieting when you are in a deficit, when you're trying to lose weight, this is when being knowledgeable about tasty healthy foods really comes into its own.
I think that's where seasoning really comes in as well.
Yeah, I mean, understanding that flavour you don't have to sacrifice flavour when you're dieting, essentially, is an important thing. I've got a great recipe that I can share with you for how to make really good protein ice cream, like barely any carbs, barely any fats.
What's the dairy like? I'm not so hot on dairy.
It uses
the carbs are low. Surely the dairy's going to be.
It uses whey protein powder or whatever powder you want, essentially, and it blends. You need a good blender and you need ice.
Ooh. And a good protein powder.
Yeah, and a good protein powder.
You've got a few recommendations we could give you.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the guy that wants to get sponsored over there.
Yeah, because I like your protein a lot. It tastes really good and it blends really well.
Good stuff. Well, we can talk about that. We can talk about supplements another time, actually.
After I do a video on it, so we can follow on.
But yeah, so frozen fruit, ice, and whey protein, and then also, again, Greek yogurt, 0 Greek yogurt. There's other variables you can chuck in, like nut butters and so on. But if you bung all that in your blender, in a really Ninja, and use the Ninja.
Yeah, I got a Ninja.
That will make, I can send you the amounts, but it will make an incredible, you can do with casein as well if you want at bedtime. Honestly, perfect ice cream.
So I think out of the three of us, I'm probably the worst eater, mainly because I'm so busy that I just eat when I remember that I need to take fuel on to train. I'm not really training a lot at the moment because I'm so busy. So I want to try some of these. These are pretty good. I eat a lot of protein bars. One, because I've got 2 vending machines in my gym, and every time I walk past it, I'm like, I'm hungry. So I've invested a lot of money in that. I don't really eat a lot of protein snacks. I eat chicken. I'll buy chicken and eat that with rice or something.
Oh, the M&S 3 for £7 little ready cooked chicken packs from the petrol stations.
Ooh.
If I'm out for work reasons and I forgot to prep any food, then an M&S petrol station is a saviour.
Yeah.
I just love an M&S. I love a Waitrose too.
We are so middle class, it's painful.
I'm more of a Tesco's boy myself.
Oh, he's bringing us back down to...
I'm going to represent the people here.
I'm with Harry on this. I'm an M&S Waitrose man.
I love it. I live for it. because I used to work at Waitrose for so many years.
You so do look like you would have worked at Waitrose.
Yeah, now you
trolleys,
said it.
trolleys. He's definitely trolleys.
No, I never did trolleys.
You were at the checkouts, weren't you?
No, I got
deli counter.
No, none of it. I was too anxious for any of that.
The hat.
Deli counter, little hat.
Yeah.
I wish. I was fruit and veg. So as soon as you walk in, you'd see me, and I was also honestly, I was the liability of that store. They hated me. I had piercings. I had tunnels. They hated them. Harry, take them out. I said, I'm going to name her right now. My old manager. I shout you out, Elaine. You're not listening to this. She comes up to me. She goes, Harry, yeah, those aren't company policy. I said, look, Elaine, I'm going to be honest with you, mate. They're tunnels. So I said, I'll take them out. No issue. But they stink of dying flesh. So I said, do you really want cheesy fruit and veg? And she was, Harry, that's disgusting. Please use plaster. I said, that doesn't look very professional, does it? And then eventually she told me, shut up and let me have it. I've actually got quite.
How big did you get your tunnels? Because I've got friends they're so big. They're like, I can take it out, and I was like, I don't want to see that.
It's just a gaping hole when you take it out.
So that is, yeah.
I only went to 6 because at the time I was big into my MMA, and
what does 6 mean?
6 millimeters.
That's pretty lame.
Yeah, well, I couldn't really do. They said
barely
if you get
they don't hole at that point.
They didn't want me getting too jazzy. I used to put my headphones.
Too jazzy.
I used to put my headphone.
Oh God, you're so you were so emo.
I really want to bring the tunnels back, but I want to go big. Just maybe one, but I'm not going to for now. I used to when I was in the MMA days. They're like, you don't really want you getting any bigger because that shit is going to get ripped out. So there's a finger in it, and I was like, yeah.
I forgot that you were in MMA times
back in the day.
Harry. So listeners, if you don't know this about Harold, he touted himself as an MMA fighter. The boy's done it all. I mean, I say that I've done a lot, but this guy's done MMA.
Look, your boy, I'm a bit of a scrub.
He's rubbing his elbow though.
Yeah, I'm trying to let everyone know how I'm a bit of a. Don't mess with me.
That's the golfer's elbow.
Don't mess with me. I'll probably fart. Do you know what I mean? Like that's pretty much what happens. But I got to get
nervous poo.
Yeah, all the time. I'm always nervous. That's my secret. I remember I was at Waitrose. And basically,
it's not a secret.
So basically, imagine this. I want you to all imagine that a picture the scene. Okay, if you're listening to this, so just close your eyes. Have a listen. So you're doing the fruit and veg. A couple of things. There used to be a banana like hammock where you would put all the bananas. Your boy put 400 kilos of bananas on that hammock. I got told off the next day because there was a health and safety hazard. There was an 8-foot tower of bananas that I had to climb over the things to put on. Because someone challenged me, said, I bet you can't get the 20 boxes of 20 kilo bananas out. 2 hours I spent doing that. And I nearly took out a woman. I nearly killed her. So that's why I got in trouble. That's not even the story. So you'd have like the middle island, and on the fruit and veg section, there was like a gap so you could see the other side. And some guy walks in, he's in front of me, and he looks a bit suspicious. And obviously, I'm a bit stupid. Let's be honest. I'm a bit questionable at times, a bit socially inappropriate. So I was like, you know, I used to do this at school, so I'm gonna do it now. I'm like 20 years old, so I just stare at him. Literally, I make eye contact with him across, and I just stare at him. Just for no reason other than I was just bored on a Saturday. And we just stare for about 5 to 10 seconds. I'm just no change of literally just. And then he starts getting like a bit sweaty, and he starts kind of shuffling off. And then because I didn't see this at the time.
I think I know where this is going.
No, I didn't see this at the time, but he had stuff in his belly. And then he dropped a bottle of Jack Daniels.
Oh, he was stealing.
And he was trying to shoplift.
Oh, so you actually eyeballed a shoplifter?
I accidentally. And then I obviously called the manager. I think some shoplifting, all this stuff. Phil, my manager, comes in. Oh, Harry, how could you tell? Honestly, well done. I don't know how you picked up on that. I was like, oh, yeah, Phil. But he just looked a bit suspicious. I kept my eye on him and he ran away. In reality, I was just really bored and wanted to stare him down to see how he'd react. And I caught a shoplifter doing so. And then my manager Phil, I've already named him. He goes to me. He goes,
that's already out at this point.
He goes, Harry, I'm going to tell you something right now. I was like, yeah. He goes, you're a big lad. I said, oh, thanks, Phil. Means a lot. He goes, there are 2 doors at the entrance. I said, yeah. He goes, one on the left, one on the right. He said, you know the ones I mean? I said, yeah. The CCTV looks over the one on the left. I said, okay. He goes, one on the right. CCTV doesn't see it. She goes, you see a shoplifter and they're going out their door. You have one opportunity. So I said, what do you mean, Phil? He goes, you go for the stomach, you punch him once, you don't do it again. I was like, what, Phil? He goes, don't touch the face. You hit him in the stomach, you take him to the floor. Okay, you get one shot, don't take the piss with it. I will defend you. I will back you. Say he tripped over. Can we agree with that? I said, Phil, I don't want to hit you. Harry, you do one punch to the stomach, you take him to the floor, you leave it there. Okay?
And that's how your career in MMA started.
And this was midway through my career. And then I'm just a bit baffled, like, Phil, that's violence. I can't do this. He goes, Harry, I'll give you the opportunity. Let's not talk about it again. And luckily, I never did it. I left it the next year.
And on that day, Phil chose violence.
That man did some things.
It sounds to me like he's trying to justify. He's like, if I get Harry to do it, then I feel all right with them when I do it.
I felt privileged that he trusted me with that information. That he wanted me to be the enforcer.
I thought he was going to tell you that because it doesn't watch over that door, if you want to nick anything, you can just go through that door.
Which Waitrose was this?
I used to work at the Henley Waitrose.
Henley Waitrose, everyone. Henley Waitrose, that's Henley Waitrose.
I just want to clarify, I never stole anything. The only time I've ever actually stolen anything in my life was I was at Legoland. I'm going to get arrested.
Stole a brick?
You know they used to have the pick and mix?
Oh, everyone's done that.
I stole a cola bottle from that pick and mix when I was like 11 years old, and I cried because I felt like a criminal. That's fact.
That's nothing. When me and my brother used to go on holiday, we'd go to like Mallorca and we'd go into like these little shops that barely make any money, and it'd be like, you see that Tamagotchi there? So I bet you can't take that.
Awful.
And
you are a bad
person.
And then he
I'm gonna
did
cancel you.
And it was so funny is like we did it a couple of times as a joke, and then we took it back. I was like, oh, we found this kind of thing. My brother then started doing it, and my brother's gonna hate me for telling this story. You won't listen to this. He stole like quite a lot of stuff. He was only about 9. Bad example, older brother. And the reason why he got caught was because he didn't really think that if he just put all it in the suitcase, like, who's going to pack a suitcase? My mum. My mum's going to be like, you definitely didn't buy all these things,
Where's
did
this
you?
thieving family you've come from?
Yeah, what's going on? Did you ever steal a car? Because that's a gateway into it. That's what I'm saying now.
No, but I think that would be quite a useful skill. I actually saw a video once where with some cars you can literally cut a tennis ball in half and then put it over the lock and punch
that's
it.
an old school one.
Yeah,
Try
and
it.
it pops
Get your car out. Let's see what happens.
No, I won't work. I didn't have the right.
I feel like I can see Chris internally getting triggered saying this is not going on topic of the healthy snacks.
No, I was just checking the clock. That's all, just to make sure, because we've been, we've done quite well on the show today.
I think ultimately Chris has come up with some pretty solid, maybe hacks for eating.
Yeah, I can't contribute. I need to use the hacks.
I can give more. I've got so many recipes that I've written down over the years that I could bring to the table. So if we ever want more recipes, guys, just let me know.
Maybe we could put them together.
Can we sell a cookbook? Can you make us
100%? Because we can do all the pictures
set.
for it. We could do loads of like pictures for it. Get a whole set. Rent a kitchen for the day. It'd be hilarious.
As somebody who has never been in an intentional deficit for a significant period of time, I have I have nothing that I do personally, but I could probably give you some ideas of like what might help. It's nothing I would use.
Can I make a confession? I don't think I've followed a proper diet like before.
We don't like the word diet here, remember?
No, like an eating plan with an intention. I've always eaten to fuel my workouts, etc. I just eat enough protein. I just make sure I get enough protein, and then. I'm actually curious to try these because I'm like, fine, I'll go on a deficit.
I'll send you some of my recipe suggestions, and you can give them a try.
And I'll be an experiment, and I'll report back.
When you're such an well-oiled machine like Mike,
well-oiled. I bent down to pick something up earlier,
function.
my knee hurt, and I was like, "What's going on?"
You are function, and you are fitness.
You are fitness.
Fitness is my passion.
You are the fit. Passion is your fitness.
What is the definition of fitness? Do you know what that is?
I mean, I think my definition probably doesn't align with the Google definition.
Fitness is just such a broad spectrum these days.
The one I got taught at uni was just the ability to fit in your environment. That is fitness. The ability to fit.
Fitting in.
Yeah, fitting into the requirements of your environment. So fitness, if you train a lot,
that doesn't mean conform to the norm, guys. Just don't feel like you can fit in your own way. Fit
into your environment. Everyone experiences the environment in a different way. So
what you said.
Fitness.
Anyway, have you guys got any Q&A?
I don't have a Q&A, but I have a little game we can play. You want to play?
Oh, yeah, I've completely forgot
I've
about
got a
this.
game we could play, which I've been really looking forward to for the last... How long have we been recording?
About an hour.
For the last hour. So basically, there was this YouGov America, how they conducted a thing where they asked a bunch of participants what animal they feel like they could take in a fight, like a one-to-one, let's say an unarmed.
This is fitness related, right? Because it's like there's a fitness element to fighting.
Yeah, because I think to be in hand-to-hand combat, you need to be relatively fit to obviously have like a better chance of survival. So they basically said, like, here's an animal. Do you think you could basically fight it to the death in unarmed combat? And it says about how many people said yes and how many people said no, sort of thing. So they said 14% of people reckon a goose would kill them in a fight.
14%.
14%.
So, true story. Last year, I actually had to fight a swan.
Who won?
Technically me.
Is the swan dead?
No.
No one won.
Well, no one won, but it was basically, I went for a walk, and once I saw a swan stood on the neck of another swan.
That's gang violence stuff.
So
Louis Theroux's gonna be all over that.
essentially, one swan was trying to eat the children of another swan.
I've seen a movie like that.
Swans are brutal, mate.
Yeah,
They don't.
One tried to drown my dog.
They ain't got no moral, swans. But anyway, so one was trying to protect its young, which is fine, but essentially it had stood on the other swan's neck and was pecking at its face. And I'm like, I understand I understand the situation here. I can see what you're doing. That's fine, but I don't want to see the other swan. I don't want to see a swan kill another swan. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So my first approach was to shout at it.
John Cena. John Cena, you can't see me.
Stop that.
And literally, I was like trying to scare them, clapping as you do, like frantically.
Sir, please stop this.
Stop it! Come on! It did nothing. It didn't even look at me. Didn't even it was so focused on this like swan on swan violence. It was so focused. So I was left. My next option was I kind of slapped it on the back.
Well done.
Do it again.
Good work.
Do it again.
Harder,
and again, didn't even. I kind of gave it a little bit of a push and a slap. Nothing.
Slapped you back.
Like it didn't. It was still focused on biting the other swan and standing like. The third and final thing, the only choice I had,
Batista bomb.
DDT. I had
through a table.
Both hands round the swan's neck
Hammer throw.
to haul it off. I had to literally pull it off the other swan. I can tell you now, there's nothing softer than a swan's neck.
When you're trying to kill it
with your own
in the wild.
It's a lovely soft. I don't know if you've ever stroked a swan because they're not very keen on it.
One bit me once.
But I had to.
Same.
I was quite delicate with it, but I basically braced it by the neck and pulled it off. So and then the other one managed to get into the water and get away.
Probably tried to attack you as well. Piss off, Chris. Don't get involved.
Yeah, they're trying to sort this out.
So I think I could handle one swan, but maybe if there was 5 swans, we'd have a problem.
If 5 swans come near me, I'm arms out. I'm just spinning. I'm going to turn myself into a propeller, and you're sorry.
Whirling dervish.
Honestly. Okay, let's go through some interesting animals. So 30% of people think a chimpanzee would kill them. I think the fact that only 30% of people think they're getting clapped by a chimpanzee is stupid because that chimpanzee is going to send you're going to be a hashtag by the time you're done with it.
Aren't they like sometimes X stronger than human?
What's the quiz here, Harry?
Like basically how of these animals, which one do you think you would kill in a fight?
Chimp? No, never.
No chance.
No chance.
Are we saying goose? Okay, I'm just going to list them. You're going to say yes or no.
Okay.
Goose.
Yes.
Unarmed human. Depends, I would say.
It depends.
When you're as juice as we are, it's not your problem, not our sort of thing. Ostrich.
No.
Not a chance.
Chimpanzee.
No.
Horse.
No.
Coyote.
Oh no, hang on, a horse.
No. Travis, you've seen the size of those monsters.
Horses are massive.
Yeah, could trample you, yes or no.
Travis,
it'd kick you in the head and you'd die.
Yeah, and I'll just
keep
give
going.
him a kiss. Coyote.
Coyote.
No.
Coyote. They got quite sharp teeth.
They have got well sharp teeth.
So no. Unless you got a really good kick as it was coming for you.
I don't know. What about walrus?
Not a chance.
No chance.
Think of belly flop on you. Bye.
That walrus looks like me when I get out of the shower.
Their skin is too thick. Their skin's too thick.
Yeah, because they fight loads, don't they? And they literally like stab each other and they're like, yeah, he won. It's like, how are you not dead? It's like, nah, I'd be fine.
Orangutan.
No.
Not a chance.
Honey badger.
No.
No way.
Kangaroo?
Just quickly.
No, kangaroo. Go on,
the honey badger is the best.
I mean, it
is the most fearless, the most feared animal in the animal kingdom.
That's me.
There was
apex predator.
there was. I'm sure I've read a story where there was a pack of lions eating a zebra that they just killed. A pack of honey badgers turned up, and the lions fucked off.
Wow.
Yeah, doing them favour charity work.
What was the next one?
Kangaroo.
No, loads of people die getting kicked in the head.
You just seen the guy that punched a kangaroo in the jaw?
Yeah, and the
bare funny.
Yeah, and then the kangaroo was like,
why are you condoning this, Harry? This seems this doesn't seem very Harry-like.
No, but I thought it was just really funny. Just the kangaroo just stood there and said like, "What the fuck?"
Kangaroos are really strong. Kangaroo wouldn't have.
They're
felt
like
that.
8 foot tall as well. Okay, this one's a bit wild. I don't know why this one's like much higher than things like an orangutan and stuff. An eagle.
Are you not going to beat anything that's airborne?
If that thing, I mean, that shit's on the floor. If they come near me, I will swing a punch.
Eagles are really big as well.
Yeah,
people just think bird.
Yeah, but Travis, how much you bench? How much you bench?
I think the thing with a bird is if you can somehow get its like wings together, maybe you stand a chance.
Well, that's your only chance.
I'm sorry, but some people here are absolutely stupid. So they reckon 40. Okay, a moose. It's going to clap.
Oh my God.
You see how big they are.
So in Estonia, where my dad lives, if you drive into a moose, you're pretty much dead.
Yeah.
The cars are right off.
Yeah,
they are
you're dead.
enormous. They weigh like 500
But the thing
kilos.
is, more
you just haven't
people,
got a chance.
more people think a king cobra is more deadly than a moose, and all of the animals previously mentioned.
Do you know why it is? It's because in films, people see like snakes and like, oh my God, everyone's scared of snakes, and they see a moose, and it's like, oh look, there's a moose over there. It's like, yeah, but if that moose got violent, you'd be dead, mate.
I'm sorry, the king cobra, what's he gonna do? Spit at me? Like, I'll spit at it too.
It's
Some
the
people
venom,
like that.
It's the venom.
Yeah, but
people are scared of, isn't it?
The thing is, but the king cobras aren't, compared to like things like the black mamba and stuff, I do love a good old reptile. They're not savagely venomous. All we have to do is dip down to the back, spin that bitch around like a hammer throw, and send it off to the abyss. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're gone.
I feel like I've seen that somewhere.
I feel like the rest of these, I think there's not a single animal on here that I feel like any of us would say, yes, we could beat. Like, I'm sorry, you're going to beat an elephant? What am I going to do? Kiss it and then hope for the best?
Well, we've learnt some stuff.
It's the fact that people have ordered these in such a manner. They're putting gorilla.
I think what we've learned is there's basically not really much we can kill with our bare hands, and we actually should be more afraid of animals than we think.
I'm going to do one last question. What would you rather fight, a grizzly bear or a gorilla? Okay, no, who would win in a fight, a grizzly bear or a gorilla?
What, between each other?
Yeah.
I think a gorilla, only because I think they're very calm, but they are very strong. I think if a gorilla can punch a bear in the head, I think
I'm saying the bear because of the claws essentially
and the teeth.
I'm pretty certain. There's actually a YouTube video I saw on this. They've got the claws, they've got the teeth, the fucking size of them. I think the bite force of a bear is like very comparable to. It might actually be more than a gorilla.
I guess the bite.
Like
yeah.
I think a gorilla will get slapped by a grizzly because a gorilla's going to punch you, but the grizzly's going to put his
Have you not
fist
seen
through
that
you.
DiCaprio film? What was it?
The Revenant.
The Revenant. I mean, come on, that was pretty horrendous.
I've not seen it.
Have you not? It's a good film.
I've heard that, but
yeah, the bite force. I didn't really think of that. That's
there's
true.
a lot of things.
It's like a crocodile and alligator's like it's the bottom jaw, isn't it? That's really strong. So as long as you
I can't believe how have we ended up this way?
We watched a lot of Animal Planet.
I literally spent my life when I was younger wanting to be a herpetologist, in which I focused my attention on learning about
herpetologist.
Herpetologist. Someone
Herpes.
I was going to say you've definitely had herpes at some point.
I have not. Thank you very much. It's someone who focuses on reptiles and amphibians because I love that stuff. I like spiders as well.
What's your favourite reptile fact? Go.
Oh, don't put me on the spotlight. I can't think of a favourite. I don't know. I can't think of a favourite.
What's something you like to tell people to show off? Like how much you know about
I
reptiles?
bench 4 plates.
How many YouTube followers he has?
Yeah, I bench 4 plates. Like, what else you want to know?
Anyway, are we going to finish this show with any sort of Q&A? Are we happy, Mike?
Did they have any embarrassing stories?
Cool, hang on, before we do that, I do have a new Q&A theme.
Oh, go on, do it.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, tell how enthusiastic I am right now.
Wait.
Is this an extended edition or is this?
No, I decided that I could improve on my last one.
Oh, okay.
Is it longer or shorter?
It's shorter, I think, or similar. I went from more of an old school hip hop vibe.
Okay, cool.
Your era.
Harry's already out.
So I'm going to go for it. I just feel like this is an improvement. I like writing, and I feel like Harry's not encouraging the creative process.
I love it. I love refinement,
Yeah,
progression, progressive overload of music, production.
As your partner,
life
partner, I support all of your endeavours.
Okay, I'm going to play it for you now, and you can let me know what you think of it. Okay,
I should point out we're not actually partners. Just to clarify, people will start talking.
And now I know you got questions we can only dream. Should I keep a steady state or take it high intensity? Rest and recovery, supplement stack. Should I 1 rep, 3 rep, 5 rep max? Gotta get beach ready and be looking like a snack. Should I incline, walk, hold on, lean back? Give me top tips to make a deadlift strong. Cause the gym shock bro said I was doing it wrong. What? Chicken, rice and broccoli. Another way there's gotta be. Tupperware's on top of me. Now I'm turning to the PFP. Pump Fiction Q&A. Just listen.
The intro definitely gave you me and you Cassie vibes. Which is also a bloody good song, I'll clarify. That is much better.
Yes. I like that.
That was impressive.
If we could find a way to make that like a little shorter, boom, in.
Oh, I can create you a little short intro, a little, but that's the extended intro.
I can't wait for your WWE debut.
I know. I can't wait.
I prefer that. That was good. You're very, very talented. I'm saddened that you're married because we could have so much fun with your Tinder.
I mean, can we just do that for the fun of it anyway?
Can we get consent from your wife, please?
I guess because we've already said that we're doing it for entertainment purposes.
Can she just confirm? Can I get that written? Can I get that
Can
written,
you write
please?
in letter?
I don't want to be the
PO
I don't want to be
box.
the reason for a divorce. Do you know
PO
what I mean?
box
I've already
5.
done that once before with my parents. I don't want to do it again now. Let's go on.
That's taking a turn.
I mean, it's always nice to know you've still got the magic. So if anyone wants to reaffirm that, that's fine. But anyway.
I think if we all had the login for it, then I think that's okay. No.
Anyway, do we have any Q&A? Anyone or anything of Q&A related substance?
No.
No?
Short answer.
So you two
No.
got one job and you can't even deliver on that. The whole podcast is...
My job is just bringing joy and light to this podcast, and I deliver on that on a daily basis.
Well, look, in that case, then that song only acts as advertising for the fact that we need your contributions to make this podcast what it needs to be.
Please send us a DM. Thanks.
Well, what we'll do is we'll put a story up every week with a sticker, and then you just
Please remind me.
all your... Well, I'll do it on our one, and then I'll tag us in it, and then we can.
You can
reshare
play.
it.
You can play that music on the Instagram, and then people can submit beneath.
Cool. I like that. You
Yeah.
need to also show me how to do that.
Okay, fine, good. All right. Well, in that case, then we've come to the end of another fine episode.
I would say so.
Does anyone have any other business, as they say in meetings?
AOB.
No. There you go. That's easy.
Oh wow. No.
Let's come to a very abrupt stop. Has everyone done their Wordles this week?
Who?
Wordle?
No comment.
No? It's
You're lost as well.
I'm
Aren't you?
drawing a blank.
Wow, I mean, Wordle's been a big thing. It's been that like word game that everyone's been...
Oh, it's a game. No, I have no
No,
time.
You're
for
not seeing
games.
people posting up like little grids of words in social media and stuff?
I think I only follow businesses, so I don't think...
I only follow people that don't
Don't post like
yeah,
me.
literally.
There you go. Well, anyway, there's no Wordle chat in that case then. So that's pretty much it for episode 5. I can't really add anything more to it. We wished Harry a very happy birthday on his his dwindling 20s. He's on his phone texting. It's so rude.
GG on the last year, mate. GG.
Oh, cheers, mate. It feels really good. When we get on Warzone again.
GG.
Next week.
I need to install it again.
You bloody gamers.
Nerd.
Cancelled.
That was at me too.
Cancelled.
Okay.
Nerds are cool. What are you on about?
I am just cool, thanks.
Didn't say you were cool.
Thank you for listening to episode 5, everyone. He's been Mike Carter. What's your Instagram? East Part Mike.
East Part Mike at the moment.
East Part Mike. He's been Harry_TFNL.
Thank you very much.
And I've been Chris D. Fellows. And this has been another fine PFP production. And good night.